So who was like your favorite musician to perform with or collaborate with? Or favorite musicians?
Oh
when you
my
look
gosh.
back.
Like worldwide, like ever?
Like, yeah, ever for you.
We could be here forever. I think my very first influence, like really powerful influence, was probably Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Just these women who have this voice, who sing so passionately. And I think that love of female vocalists has gone on, you know, all the time, and so many different genres. So whether it's Erykah Badu, whether it's Beyonce, whether it's Rihanna, whether it's this young girl coming out of Jamaica now, Coffee. I love female vocalists, but I'm really passionate about that. In Uganda, oh my gosh, Lillian Mbabazi, love you. Irene Ntale, love her. Seen her come up. We used to do events for Women's Day. Again, we did a huge event here for Women's Day, and that would give me an opportunity to meet all these wonderful women coming up in music here. So lots.
Okay, did you ever feel like that's what you wanted to do completely? When all of this was happening, Miss Natty was coming out, you were traveling,
Oh my gosh, Crystal, you're so on point. Do you know, I think of you as Uganda's answer to Oprah. So right now, I feel like I'm on Oprah. I've made it, people, I've made it. But you have a really great interview technique, and I think you've hit the crux here. Because I've spent a long time feeling like I have two lives. You know, I think I even came and I gave you 2 business cards.
Yes.
2 hats. Yeah, I think I would love to have music as my central life occupation. But I think my talents are diverse. I love my coaching business. I love building, empowering individuals and businesses. I love doing workshops. I've just been working with the Ugandan National Young Farmers Association, doing workshops with them. I find that so inspiring that I don't think I would be fully satisfied.
Okay.
Right? So it's sort of in my dream, yes, I think I would do music all the time, but in reality, I think I need the mix. I need
So you can only
both
tap in.
sides.
Because you said you wanted to tap into a bit of gardening. You're looking at the music as well. So now when you say you're working with farmers, I'm like,
Yes, I love farmers.
how did you begin with the coaching program?
Okay, so after I took that pause and I stopped with the Refugee Law Project and human rights, as my daughter grew, I was like, I need to get back into the work market. So I retrained. I trained myself at the Institute of Leadership and Management in the UK.
Okay.
As a coach. So I certified as a coach, and hugely supported and inspired by my older sister in the UK, who's also a master coach. And she said, you'd be a natural. You coach people anyway, Pam. That's what you do. So just why don't you qualify and try it and have your own business that you can still have enough flexibility for your family. You can choose your hours. You can, you know, which was less intense than working at the Refugee Law Project.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And I fell into the niche of working with development agencies, agricultural agencies. So I've been all over Uganda.
Because I know you're always traveling.
Right, right. Supporting all these amazing value chains. So the dairy sector in southwestern Uganda, fisheries and fish business in Ginger, working with development agencies like the German Development Agency, GIZ, or the Dutch Development Agency, SNV, who work with the Ugandan government, the different ministries. So I go along and I coach, and I do workshops, and I train, and I learn a lot about our country and agriculture. But I'm mad about trees, still mad about trees.
So how are we doing?
With
yes, as Uganda, as Ugandans.
Great. We're doing great in so many ways. As far as agriculture is concerned, as far as that side of the development, I'm impressed.
What do people need to know? Like from your experience, what you've learned?
I think people should know that we are deeply privileged and blessed to live where we live. Our environment means that we can have 3 growing seasons, for example. As soon as you get southern Africa, Malawi, Botswana, those people don't see rain for months. Months. They're relying on one chance for their maize and their beans and stuff. Whereas here, and we have, for example, our coffee exportation. We have the best coffee. I hope this is Ugandan coffee we're drinking right now. The best coffee, high quality coffee. Our dairy sector, apparently we have the best milk, but of course. And so, you know, we are highly in demand to process that milk and make milk products for the United Arab Emirates. It's our fastest growing export sector. Who knew?
Okay.
Milk.
So what's holding us back?
Well, I would say that there's still a need to support and finance our farmers. I think there's still a big need for farming to look sexy. I think our youth are like, those gumboots.
There's a gap there.
It's not
They're colorful ones now.
But I think as we grow and more people embrace that and showcase that and support for those who are really on the ground. There are so many women out there who get up with their hoe and feed their families and know exactly how to grow our beans, our coffee, our all this stuff, but sometimes they get neglected. So I don't think we're fully harnessing our potential. That's really important.
Okay.
But I see a change. I was watching one of your shows with Tina Fierce, another farmer. Yes, so the passion is there, and I think when more people really demonstrate that there's actually money in it, that there's security in it.
I think that's the scariest thing, because most people say to be a farmer you have to be really passionate.
Yes.
You have to get knocked down quite a few times before things start to work.
Definitely, you do. It's long
Which is
term.
why I think in a way it's good to start when you're younger, right?
As soon as possible. As soon as possible. And look at it as a long-term investment. You do have to be passionate, though. This is not for the faint-hearted.
Yes.
You know, you either are a farmer or you're not.
Some people say that Uganda has a capacity to feed the world.
Yes,
Do you
truly.
think that's true?
Oh, yes, we really do. And the innovation around it is incredible. To increase our yields, to do aquaculture. Have you seen that? Where they grow food on water, and where they have the fish down here, and then the chickens up here, and the chicken manure feeds the fish, and then they
build that whole ecosystem.
the permaculture. I mean, we are in the best place in the world for that. Growing of trees. I mean, there's so much. We're barely scratching the surface if we got ourselves organized. And when I see other nations in the world, I mean, even Kenya is pretty organized when it comes to their agriculture and their development of products and things like that. I don't want to say that because it's build Uganda, buy Uganda. I'm all about Uganda. And we've got the capacity, that's for sure.
Okay, so we need to tap into it more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's money in it, by the way. This is not just for passion. There's real money in it.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Are you farming?
Kinda with my mom.
Yeah,
yes.
good.
She's got her fingers.
Yes.
In there.
Good. Well, then you're starting early.
So I wanted to ask you about. I think you travel to. Is it a lodge? Quite a few times in the year.
Oh yes, Fort Portal. In Fort Portal.
In
Dali Lodge.
Okay, so are you part of that?
Well, that lodge is actually my cousin, my first cousin.
Okay.
Real cousin sister, as we know, and her husband.
Okay.
So Claire and Aubrey Price.
Okay.
They own and run Indali Lodge. It's been in Aubrey's family for generations. So we're lucky enough to go and visit and spend time with the family. And we also bought 21 acres of land right there, just by our own little crater lake. And of course I have trees and bees.
Previously on Crystal One-on-One.
I then decided to come back to Uganda.
Okay.
So I come back to Uganda without a proper plan, but the idea was to farm, like I told you. I'm not going to work for anyone. But also, after failing in the farming, I decided to set up Great Lakes Public Affairs because I'm like, wait, I'm good at talking. I like talking and convincing people. I'm good at researching. I've earned at least this skill from education. Let me set up something called Great Lakes Public Affairs. So we started Great Lakes Public Affairs, ultimately doing a lot of risk analysis for businesses that wanted to come into Uganda. focusing on the oil and gas sector.
Affected so
A big
yes.
change. But you know, I mean, we have a lot of friends in that industry, in the tourism industry. And for a lot of them, they've been super creative and they've pivoted and they're now embracing looking at the resident market. So now, whereas before Ndali would be quiet at the weekends, now it's busy at the weekends. So people are embracing that. As they've had to do, and they've had to be pretty drastic. Hey, like
Yes.
how do you keep all your staff? How do you keep going? Because you know things are going to change.
Yes.
And you have to maintain your community. For example, in Dali Lodge or Chaninga Lodge, which is also in Fort Portal, they have the philosophy that they employ from their community.
Yeah.
So the community all around really does depend. It's a really close relationship that they have. So they felt the responsibility. We have to keep all of us going through this pandemic. But I think they've done well. I think they've done well.
I like what you're talking about because I'm part of a campaign which is Take on the Pearl, where we discover Uganda. Now, I've traveled a lot throughout Uganda. But
Have you been to Ndali?
I haven't been to Ndali. I've
Let
been
me
to
hook you up,
Chaninga.
girl.
I'm like,
Let me hook you up, for sure.
But definitely it's something that we as Ugandans, because it's weird how we keep having people coming to Uganda and talking about how amazing this country is. And we're kind of like, yeah, we have trees.
Right?
Yeah, we have lakes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have animals.
Yes, but we're sort of vague about
But
it.
it's like, what, because it's right in front of us?
And also I think you take for granted what's at home. You know the saying, it's only when visitors come, that's when you show them all around. And I think also maybe we're curious and thirsty. We want to go to Dubai, we want to go to Mombasa, we want to go to the US, because we feel like, yeah, that's traveling. That's traveling. But people have changed. All the people who would have gone away in this year, who normally would travel to Dubai or wherever,
They're now traveling.
and now within, and they're like, we may not go to Dubai next year.
If anything, it's even opening our eyes to the opportunities
Right here.
that are right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have first class everything here in Uganda now.
Okay.
You know, best. And actually what the pandemic's done for us is given our nature and our wildlife a bit of a break. So that has flourished. That has not been affected by the fact that
That's a plus.
less human beings. And apparently we have new gorillas born and stuff.
Many
so
babies.
We've got lots of babies because we haven't been bothering them.
So I wonder what that means moving forward.
Right. So tell me more about Taking on the Pearl.
Well, it's with Uganda Tourism Board. It's an initiative where they're getting a lot of personalities, but just also winners to get to experience parts of Uganda they've never experienced before. But you're not interviewing me, so I'm coming back to you. Now, you said that you don't see yourself doing music full time, but definitely the passion is there. Is that what led to Bushfire Records?
Exactly. So I realized that writing songs, singing, performing is just one aspect. It's a slither of the industry. You know, the industry is huge. And the creative arts generally is, you know, it needs to be nurtured. It's like a garden. You need to be always planting and harvesting and, you know, growing things and people growing. So, and I thought about it, what is there in Uganda if you want to do secular music? If it's not church music, where do you go? We don't have a performing arts school. You know, unfortunately, music, dance and drama has been given a bit of a bad rap. It's not as exciting. We don't encourage our young people.
And yet it has produced some of the biggest, most talented people we have in this country.
Right? But they did it all off their own back. Somehow, you know. So I thought, well, one of the important things would be to create an organization, a business, it's a business, Bushfire Records, that supports talent, that helps you go from, I have a song, please listen to me sing it, to, okay, let's polish this, let's understand your genre, let's understand your songwriting, let's understand your performance skills, let's understand how we're going to get you out there, let's understand how you get yourself onto all those platforms, because these days you need a profile, you need a social media presence, you need a an understanding of what your album is going to be like. We need to make sure you're in the right genre. Who are you going to appeal to? Who's your market? And that's pretty overwhelming for musicians at the beginning. It's a lot.
And most people really need good management, and it's...
And what people don't understand is that there's no such thing as overnight success. 0 to hero? No. So you need to support somebody maybe for 4, 5, 6 years to build them up into the personality. I mean, if you ask any of our top musicians and artists and personalities, they'll be like, yeah, I've been working with the same group of people for a long time to get where we are. So I think that's the sort of support that I'm looking at, to sign artists, work with them, journey with them, coach them, cheerlead for them, you know. Sometimes talk to the parents and the family, you know, say to them that this is not a wrong road for somebody to take. And then, you know, help them along that journey, because it's tough. It can be pretty tough to keep your...
I think some people start, and the reason why they fizzle out is because, you know, they just feel they don't get the support. Maybe they're not making the money, the strides they want to.
Right.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. You're very vulnerable. Sometimes it's a closed business. You have no idea, you know, how do I get my music to be played on radio? And people are like, it's who you know. And you're like, well, okay, but where is it? Where is the YouTube page that tells me this? And it's like, no, it doesn't. So all of that sort of mysteriousness of the industry, I think I certainly would have loved to have the kind of management who sat me down and said, this is it. These are the steps. This is how we're going to do it.
So when you were doing it, you were kind of just doing it on your own?
Oh, yeah. Just figuring it out. Being bold. Just going into people's offices. Hi, can we play here? Is it okay? I think your hotel needs me. You know, and kind of being bold, trying it out. If you had the opportunity to get in studio, you just dived in. You know, you gave it a go.
Okay.
So I think now, being a bit more constructive about it with Bushfire Records, we've made a lot of strides towards partnerships, for example, with distribution. Distribution of music is the big thing now. You know, that's really, really important. How do you get your music out there? How do you get it paid for? You know, right now you've got to be on Spotify.
Yes.
So my daughter will tell me, "Are you on Spotify? If you're not relevant."
Ouch.
Yes. But how do you do that? So we've luckily had the opportunity, again, through knowing people for years in the industry, to join with East Africa Records, which is all about that, all about distribution.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, but they won't help you develop your product. You need a product to give them for them to distribute. Okay. So that's what the mistake a lot of musicians, a lot of artists make. They think, I just show up and then you're going to do everything.
Oh,
like, no.
You have to develop it on your end
Yes.
first. Okay.
Yes.
So who are you working with then?
As
Bushfire,
artists? Yes. Well, that's myself, of course, Miss Nati. And currently the artist on our books is The Music. And so he's an Afro soul folk singer.
Okay.
Acoustic guitar, beautiful, beautiful voice. Writes and composes all his music, all his own music. So he's currently on release. You can find him on Spotify. The Music. Yes, exactly. And his single is Omwanoyo. And he has a whole album. Okay. But we'll be releasing it in stages and making videos and stuff, and then myself. So currently, for the next 8 months, those are the two artists we'll be releasing.
Okay.
And then after that, we have quite a few beautiful young ones. There's a young lady coming up, Jovia Natasha, and another gentleman who comes from Mbale. Again, beautiful, beautiful talent, but completely raw. He's like, well, okay, I'm here with my guitar. What next?
What do you need me to do?
Right. And those sort of artists, we will spend the next probably 3-4 years working with them, developing them, and then releasing. So
okay, I want to talk about you.
Yeah. Okay.
So what have you been working on?
I have an album called A Girl Called Africa.
A Girl Called Africa.
Yes, Instagram handle A Girl Called Africa. And it's a reggae album. and I've been working with producers from East Africa Records as well. It's probably going to be about 12 songs in total. I've got about 8 of those finished. And I'll be releasing my first single in November.
Okay.
So, but if you sneak onto my YouTube page, Bushfire Records YouTube, you can get some sneak peeks, listen to me singing. I've started to play the bass guitar. Very proud of that. Very proud of that.
Yeah. When did this happen?
Probably over the past year. Over the past year, I love it. I love it. So, composing, playing, and yeah, so you can see some sneak peeks of that if you get onto Bushfire Records. Miss Natty reveals.
That's nice.
Yeah,
How long have you been working on this album?
This album has actually probably been, my entire musical career. And I realize that now, some of the songs.
Did you go back on material you
exactly. So I went, I had a look at all, it's kind of like opening this chest of all the songs that I did, songs that I did live, songs that I never released, songs that meant a lot to me and I recorded, but I didn't release them, like the song about my father, for example. And now I was like, well, let's dust all these off and,
Did you feel you weren't ready before?
I think so. I think I was more interested in the band and in live performance and things like that. And so now I have a body of work and I'm ready.
Okay. So what about, you talked about your music is a lot about your emotions, what you're going through, what you think. Do you have any spiritual influences as well?
I'm deeply spiritual. I believe there is an almighty power of creation. And I just, to be honest, I don't know how people get through without understanding that there's this huge power loving us and supporting us and guiding us if we'll listen. I don't like to be put in a box, though. I don't believe that we should, what should I say? Well, no, I don't want to say anything about how people should think. They should feel and think as they wish, but I believe that
you can say what you think.
Exactly. I believe spirituality is for all of us. So Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish. I mean, there's so many different flavors. As many different flavors as there is flavors of food. And so we pick and choose our way. But essentially, at the core, it's all about love. Right? It's all about loving yourself. It's all about loving your environment. It's all about having gratitude. It's all about loving your life, which is actually my Instagram handle for my coaching. Because I believe that if you have that consciousness within you, you will love your life. You will see it as a magical, blessing, like an amazing miracle to be alive, to be human. I mean, we are amazing. And life is so fragile. We get busy with this and that and not enough money or the right clothes or the right shoes if you're around 15, 16 years of age, or getting into your social media. But life is fragile. The fact that you just breathe the whole night long while you're asleep, we don't have anything to do with that. We just wake up in the morning grouchy, complaining about the traffic. Without just thinking how amazing our body has been, So I think spirituality is a big influence, and you do hear it in my music quite a lot, yeah.